Greetings and welcome to this week's A Blog to Watch Weekly Live. Myself and Ripley have just been sharing earthquake news for what that's worth. Anyway, we're going to kick off this morning's live show the way we did last week because I quite enjoyed it.
Earthquake news?
By earthquake news, which is by trying to decide if it's possible for a human being to create a random number and then review the article from A Blog to Watch that we find it said a random number. So
they have free random number generators on the internet.
Yeah,
Just want you to know that.
Yeah, okay. They're probably copyrighted.
They predate AI by a long time.
Ask AI to choose a page. Ooh, that's an interesting one.
I wasn't even meaning that, but you know what?
GPT,
go for it.
Yeah, okay. ChatGPT, choose a random
I wonder if it does it.
On a blog.
Come on, impress me, technology.
Watch.com.
Oh, I hope it's a good one.
Okay, it's
Error.
choosing a random page. Yeah, that's right. A blogtowatch.com does not. Here's a randomly selected article. Okay, it's a whole article it's selected. Let's see how random it is about this in the first 10 pages. It is from 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. I like this. This works. And it is this. The Messina Lab unveils limited edition Magraph watch with Raoul.
A watch that nobody remembers.
Raoul Pages, yes.
Was this before or after Raoul won the LVMH watch prize?
Yeah, hold on. Is it
before,
possible?
I believe, right?
Yeah.
I think
is it
Raoul
possible
won
this
maybe
is actually
2023.
It's actually a ChatGPT invention. This isn't a real page. We should, first of all, does anybody remember writing this? Who is Nick Lenner?
He's a human.
He is a
know
human.
because I met him before.
Yeah, I've met Nick. Sent him a couple emails. Definitely a real human.
Definitely a real human. Okay, so it passes muster on that regard, right? What can anyone remember about this watch?
I know some general stuff about Messina Lab and Raoul Pages.
Mhm.
This specific one, I mean, I think it just sort of is what it looks like, right? Like, let's take a super nerdy watch and try to make it hip with an artistic strap. It's a beautiful watch, but it's trying to be let's go graph paper to the street.
Okay, so are we pleased?
Raoul's good with finishing.
Raoul's good with finishing.
What's this cost?
Okay.
Like 80 grand?
I was going to say, have a guess.
I mean, Raoul's one of those handmade movement kind of guys. Obviously not like Dufour kind of handmade, but or I'm sorry, like Roger Smith handmade, but a lot of huge amount of finishing. He's a classicist when it comes to dials. It's nice. It's probably crazy expensive.
Okay, guess 80 grand from you, David.
I don't know.
Yeah, 65.
65. Ripley.
Could be a lot less.
Ooh,
no idea.
2022 of 48.
No, I think it's
I haven't looked at the pictures.
12 or something.
Okay.
Okay, the answer is, and none of us have got an advanced on this, it is $8,675.
Yeah. Next time I will look at the movement. I was already on Gaia watches, so I was not paying too much attention.
So wait, how much is the watch? Because here's the thing, I was motivated by the price of the Raoul Pages watch that he entered for the LV watch prize, right?
Right. Okay.
So I guess what William was able to do was get Raoul to finish kind of a basic movement, just do it really nice finishing. Maybe that's what it is. I guess that's why it says Messina on the dial.
Raoul Pages.
We might not even have editorial on it.
Yeah. No, I've certainly got a link, but is it to him?
It's about him being the first. Oh wait, maybe it's the watch at the bottom there.
There we go.
No, go back.
First. Well, this is the article on him.
I know, but go back.
Oh, okay.
And then you see the oldest article from 2022.
Right. Okay.
So that's the same year the Messina one came out. That's the watch.
Right.
Okay. I don't remember how much it costs. Let's see.
That's nice. That is actually quite nice. Right. It is.
See, not that different looking movement.
Totally different escapement.
Well, you know what I mean in terms of
85,000.
Okay, so I'm not insane. I'm not completely insane.
No, absolutely crackers. Okie doke, cool.
I even wrote this article, okay? Somewhat remember it.
In 2022. Good. How many articles have you written now, Ariel?
Me?
Yeah.
You don't
On,
want to.
You know?
on the website, somewhere
What, you
between
write articles
5,500 and
not for the
6,000, I
web? Right,
think.
All right, okay.
It's
And
insane.
is David second?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
haven't
think
really
so.
checked.
Yeah, okay.
I'm like at like 900 or 900, something like that.
You're not even at 1,000 yet?
I'm
Not
at like
yet.
730
slacker.
or something like that.
All right, okay. Interesting. Cool, right.
In all, it's been
okay.
over 10,000 articles, you know.
Right,
that
okay.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, I look at you. It's clearly taking its toll.
What do you mean? Because I don't remember prices from 2022.
Right, let's begin our show proper then. On the count of 3. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. David is introducing the click into the clap track. There we go. Good. Right. Welcome to this week's A Blog to Watch Weekly Live. Thank you all very much for joining us. Lots to talk about in this show. We'll see how much nonsense we manage to get through. Let's start, though, with something, because there's quite a lot of out there. Let's start with something not so nonsense, just to give the impression that we are actually going to talk about some watches during the show, rather than just, well, what we normally do, which is go completely off tangent. So, Ariel, when luxury watch brands increase their prices, they change their customers. Is this a very obvious statement, or
I don't
is there
know.
more to
It is
than
to
that?
me, but the way that a lot of watch brand managers operate seems to suggest that this is not widely known.
Right, so you think that Oris putting its prices up, they don't realise that they're not now speaking to the same people as they were before?
No, I think quite the opposite. I think they think that they're so awesome and that people develop brand loyalty, which in the watch space they don't really, to be honest. They develop loyalty to maybe somebody at a brand who treats them nice, but I don't know. I've really never met anyone who's like, this brand could do no wrong and I only care about them. So this is me sort of playing amateur economist here, and I describe the very real and to me interesting phenomenon that when a brand increases its prices, even by a little bit sometimes, it is no longer selling to the same type of person. And therefore, it needs to create an entirely new relationship with a completely different type of consumer. And it's really predicated on the amount of money that people are willing to spend. What they can afford is a different question. What they're willing to spend, what they want to spend is the crucial thing. People come into the hobby wanting to spend a certain amount. And when a brand gets them in at one price, but sort of increases the price by a lot, even if that person still likes the brand, they're not buying it anymore. They're trying to find, they move on to find something else. And I hear brands give me all types of weird excuses why they raise prices. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, guys. The consumer does not care. The consumer says, oh, look, that guy over there, he's got something for about the price I'm comfortable with. I'm going to go over there now. Not, well, I used to be able to buy your middle tier to nice watches. Now I can only afford your, cheapo entry level ones, if that at all. Like, you no longer make me feel good about myself. So I actually do think that your day-to-day manager, marketing person, whatever, is thinking about this entire scenario far too optimistically, hoping that people will still love them, but not treating this relationship practically, thinking like, oh, but they're my buddies, they'll understand, right? No, that's not how this works for them. They're buying watches for selfish reasons, and if you charge more than they want to spend, they're going to find someone that's charging what they do want to spend. That's the gist of it.
So who's jumped the shark the most in everyone's opinion? Whose prices are running away with them in comparison to their customers the most? For me, I think I would maybe...
Sounds like you have an answer.
Yeah, I do have an answer. I think it's between Christopher Ward and Oris, in my mind.
Well, Chris Ward at least still makes the same.
True.
They still they're making stuff at like $4,000 now, which is wild. That to say that several years ago would have been a nut statement, but they're still making that stuff sub $1,000 that people can buy all day long. I think Oris is probably a better example between those two, because while they still make the Diver 65 with the Sellita, it's like 80% more expensive than what I remember it being like half a dozen years ago. You know, it's a categorically different purchase.
You should see the email chain between me and Oris that went today. Oh, they were not happy about that. I stood by our guns, and I'm glad you basically echoed what I said to them, so I'm really happy.
Well, I mean, a lot of the thing is, regardless of someone's financial means, they appreciate brands for different things. There's guys who own multiple Pateks and six-figure watches who still buy a bunch of G-Shocks a year because they like watches, and this is a, you know, categorically affordable thing that they can buy without putting too much thought into it and indulge in this hobby for, you know, what they would otherwise spend on like sneakers or a jacket or something like that. But like, you know, if G-Shocks all of a sudden became $5,000 as the standard price, that regardless of the fact that that guy just purchased a $50,000 watch, he's going to take that $5,000 elsewhere because that brand's no longer the same thing to him. What he enjoyed about it originally doesn't apply to this different price point.
David, most shark jumpy brand in terms of pricing?
That's a good question. Almost all of them in recent years. I think it's very difficult to find one. Even G-Shock. If I will go with G-Shock, for example. Like sometimes I can look at a G-Shock and think to myself, this is the exact same watch that I could get for $100, but they also sell it to me for $500 and then for $1,000 for no apparent reason. There are tiny little changes here and there, but overall, sometimes they actually remove features. Sometimes you lose solar or you lose multiband or stuff like that for no apparent reason, right? So it's I think G-Shock has kind of lost the plot in some ways.
I gotta bring up. Oh, go ahead.
Go on. No, go on.
Well, I want to bring up an important point. This is almost a counter to a potential rebuttal, and a very common and I think astute rebuttal to my argument is, well, wait a minute. You have bias. You started the hobby at a certain price point. You remember certain historical legacy prices, and you're sort of stuck on that. You can't accept that these brands are different today than they were in the past. And in some ways that is true. But as David pointed out, in a lot of instances, it's not like they're offering more watch. In fact, it's the same watch, maybe a little bit better. In some instances, as David said, worse. So I try to acknowledge that there's a bit of that. You know, I've been into watches now, for like 25 years. So yes, I have a certain memory that gets a little bit stuck, but I'm also aware of that. And being aware of that allows me to say, am I just stuck on, you know, pre-inflation rates, or is there something else happening? So again, I try to be aware of that. Obviously, there's a little bit that goes on, but that's not the core essence of this article.
Is there a difference in some brands in that when some prices go up, what it does to the person who's interested is it forces them into lower price models within that brand? Or when the Speedmaster becomes an 11 grand watch, they just abandon Omega? It's not like they go down.
I don't know. Do you want a Railmaster? I don't.
Or an Aquitaine?
I didn't want it back then. The time after that, you remember like the weird 46mm giant one? That's the last one I thought was cool.
That thing's pretty cool, though. That thing's really cool. It's like a belt buckle. Yeah. The big manual wide movement.
It's as big as like train wheels. That's good, right? But now it's like, who's excited about trains? Why did they have to come back with this? Ball couldn't sell the Conductor, but Omega wants to sell the Railmaster?
Well, I like the Railmaster, but given that everything Omega does in the realm of meta certified is uber anti-magnetic as it currently in its natural state, if they wanted to revive the Railmaster in a meaningful manner, it would be a great model to debut some new anti-magnetic stuff to further bolster what's already a ludicrously anti-magnetic rating. But like the fact that it's basically just an Aquaterra with a Railmaster themed dial sort of seems like a phoned in effort, but I like the Railmaster in a concept. I kind of appreciate the heritage. It's kind of Omega's version of the Milgauss, but using it as a platform to debut new silicon stuff or a new escapement or new material, something like that, I think would have made a lot more sense. We know what it is.
It's their Explorer one. This is not them being sophisticated. This is another let's just try to copy Rolex thing. That's really all this is. we'd like to think that Omega is more sophisticated than that. They have been more sophisticated than that. They can be. Right now, they're not more sophisticated than that. This is not a watch for enthusiasts.
Is there any brand that's going in the opposite direction that are deliberately suppressing their prices or indeed their quality to support the reduction in prices, or are sticking to their guns? They're really not.
I would say
just
yes.
Going for every price increase.
I would say a lot of the smaller brands, the ones that started in the last 5 to 10 years, maybe in 15 years, have probably had a lot more opportunities to increase their prices. A lot of them have maintained prices, been very static, not really increased production levels. I think because a lot of those brands themselves are run by purists and the original founder, they have a sense of what the consumer wants and will put up with, or just what feels moral to them. So I would say that most of that responsible behavior is amongst those people that are founded or run by collectors themselves. The people run by business people are the ones where we're seeing this, often quite egregious, opportunistic cash grab, so to say, behavior.
Well, for me, I don't mind when a brand like G-Shock starts rolling out ludicrously expensive models, provided that they still sell that like $60 basic thing. It's when they abandon it entirely where I start to get a little itchy about it. But, a brand like G-Shock, yeah, some of the models are just so radically divorced from what the ethos of that brand was that, if you explain to some random construction worker who wears a $50 G-Shock that they also make a $5,000 G-Shock, that would break his brain. But they still make the $50 G-Shock, and they make a myriad of them for under $100. So, while they still, similar to Chris Ward, they still make the affordable ones and earnestly make those models and continue to do so and maintain that price point, although they do dabble in the upper market. And I feel like if a brand's going to do that, that's a much more earnest way to do that, rather than just saying all of a sudden, yeah, we were a $500 brand, now we're a $1,000 brand, and we're basically selling you the same watch.
Okay, well, welcome to everybody in the chat this morning. You can obviously watch this show on a Tuesday live. If you choose to, you get a little bit extra at the beginning. We've had a bit of a blast from the past to start us off. So
that was a
go
fun
to
one.
Blog to Watch. It was a good one. Go to a Blog to Watch weekly live for that, or tune in as normal on a Friday for the podcast and the edited YouTube highlights on the main A Blog to Watch channel. A bit of last week's show this week. I'll share this screen. This was indeed the Miami boat party we referred to last week that sunk the Lamborghini. For those that are interested or wanted some follow-up, £4.5 million luxury yacht that is designed for 8 people. They had 32 folk that were
first
rescued
picture
on
looks
board.
like an ad for the Coast Guard.
It's a bunch of influencers who appeared to be more interested in making sure they rescued their phones that they'd recorded.
I like how they're all on their phone. Like, that's the most concerning thing right
That's
now. Every single one there is doing something with their phone.
Yeah, and that's how it ended up at the end of the day. So there we go. That was a bit of last week's show. This week now, it's been a week of interesting marketing and some other stuff. So let's dive into this.
Wow, has it?
Yeah, well, interesting. Well, you've been sending emails. I accept that we may be allowed to lose quite a lot of the audience here as we go quite niche, but who's this show for if it's not for us primarily, just to chew the fat? So first up this week...
Oh, this sounds scary.
Courtesy of David, is the Gaia Spring Hot Sale. Okay, which has led to a contest which we'll play shortly about the most ridiculous marketing spiel that you have found on the internet.
This is an inexpensive Chinese fashion watch.
Well, is it Spring Hot Sale or Spring Springs? Because there's a second
Spring Springs.
Spring Springs Hot Sale. Celestials, yeah.
Yeah.
Spring Springs.
A lot of double words going on here.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a triple letter score in one of them. They use the word steal like 4 out of 6 words in a sentence.
What? So is your fascination humor? Like, here's someone who's desperately trying to make a professional looking watch website. I want to know what this building is. That's for me is the biggest question here. Is that actually?
Yeah.
There's an address and everything.
The project has a total of 15 floors. Was it a floor a person?
I like how they're describing this. Like, why would we need to know that there's restaurants, hotels, and supermarkets around there?
Yes, you can stay in the hotel next door if you wish. activity site.
They might
It's
have a
just
fantastic
industry.
manufacturer visit
I want to
article
go
in the
here.
works.
We
Okay,
have
the
to investigate.
London Design Awards.
Wait, was that their prize? The clown with the balloon?
Yeah.
No. But this
It's
is the
a
best. This is the
fringe.
best. The
The fringe
fringe.
design.
Okay, so on the image it says French Design Awards, and then in the text it misspells the word French.
There's a lot of
It goes French.
awards that this company apparently has won.
Yeah,
They
wait.
won all of them. Berlin,
Is
French,
the masked
London.
clown? Is that
Every
masked
country.
clown
Yeah.
the award? That's even creepier than the GPHG baby fist thing.
Yes. The official watch for the China Cup Regatta.
Imagine
a
all
thing?
of them wearing all of
Famous
these
sailors. Famous sailors.
Is that
Chinese.
real? Does that exist?
It's only slightly more relevant than Panerai official timekeeper of the interior design show or whatever
Yes,
that thing
it's
is.
Yeah, it's the worst sponsorship. That probably, actually, to be fair, Panerai probably still is the most ridiculous.
Is that a real
sponsorship.
boutique? Do they have a real store?
The flagship
to go.
store. Even
I
the women in the
desperately want
poster
to
look
go.
slightly dubious about whether this is real.
They have a picture of
Ooh.
Lucerne in
Ha-
the background for some reason. You see, they're
Yeah, but-
posing as like I think you just found it
Guys.
online, but it's like
Yeah.
Well, it does look like it's literally on top of a mountain somewhere.
They have a chat. They have a chat with us function.
No. Ignore that.
My
Yeah.
favorite chat with us. We reply.
send us a watch to
immediately.
review. Ask for a review
Chat
sample.
with us. Can
Okay.
we have a review
They
sample?
already want
for
us. Yes.
our
Okay.
YouTube channel.
That
Please
is a
spell YouTube,
remarkable view out of there. Grand Seiko, talk about the view of Mount Owate.
Okay.
This is like 40 feet from the
No.
summit of this mountain.
Oh, what did I start?
Where's this located again? Because their buildings all
China.
look next to each other.
China.
Yeah, but what
In
part of
China.
China? Like
Well,
like the
Let's
highest mountain
explore
in China?
more of the website.
Yeah,
I think we'll have more fun looking at the web pages than chatting with
Yes.
their AI assistant.
Yes.
Do it.
So there was where's the one? Is it the Interstellar? Where
This
they
is
show a
not
picture
amongst
of-
the funniest. This is just one of the more boring ones.
Okay,
where you
well,
get to feel the
direct me
galaxy on your
direct me to your
wrist.
funny watches by gender.
Some of the fake Richard Mille ones are particularly good.
Yeah, one of
So
those is my my
Yeah.
top choice.
The one with the
Here's the-
green,
Yeah.
The one with the green.
you gotta scroll.
Green?
It's not.
It's further down.
No.
it's
Just
not
go
there.
to watches. Don't go by gender. Just go to watches. They're
Watches,
categorized
all
very
watches.
oddly.
Oh,
All right, keep going. No. More.
Okay,
Yeah,
keep
the
going,
UI
keep
on
going.
this website is
There we
second
go,
only
that
to the
green one.
watches
This
themselves
one,
as far as
the,
quality.
That's pretty good.
Gaia customized with a Z. It's always a good
It's
sign.
odd. This one actually makes me want the real Richard Mille one. By the way, it keeps saying Gaia customized. What is there that's able to be customized here? I don't know what's custom. It's a copy. Is that customized? I don't know. So you have to scroll down. By the way, it's called the G-Max, which I think is hilarious.
The G-Max.
They also have a
G-Max
collection
Ultra.
titled The Big Bang.
If you
Right.
but look closely at the text. It really looks like AI made it. Like scroll back up. Like it's not even complete sentences.
With the but that's a pic. That's not actually text. That's a picture.
I know. It's like pictures of text. It's the weirdest thing.
Matt, with the combination of the initial letter G of Gaia and Max. Thanks for explaining where G-Max
I want to know
comes
more
from.
about the hardcore strength of the blank. Of the ...
Subvert the tradition, conquer your doubt. Ariel, it's all about conquering your doubt.
And subvert
show
tradition.
the hardcore strength of...
Don't think this watch is BS. Trust that it's real.
Yeah.
You're not reading the text. It's all hilarious.
Yes.
Mo
right.
type 9H. Yeah, right, okay, right.
Who
That's-
found the most hilarious line? Let's
Okay,
compete.
right.
This one
yeah,
has, if you
next
keep
up-
going down, it's okay. Well,
Right, okay,
I
well,
like,
let's go. So, David, bring us your
sporty
best
sports model buddy.
Ooh.
Sporty sports model, buddy. give us your best marketing text, and then we'll try and guess where it's from.
Mine? Okay.
Yeah.
It's 3D carved space bottom cover.
Space
Which is-
bottom or space
Space
bottom?
bottom?
Cover. It's a 3D carved space bottom cover. So if you have a space bottom, they 3D carve it for you and cover it. It's a tough game because there have been so many lousy statements here. But yeah, I went with this one because it was the most unexpected of them all.
Okay, so
Was
give
the
us a clue.
space
Is it
bottom
Swiss?
at least on a celestial watch? Was there something space themed about the space
Yes.
bottom cover? Okay, then at least
Space
that's
themed.
appropriate.
Some sort of Speedmaster ripoff?
Mm-hmm.
No, is it a real brand? Is it a brand that would like to be in GPHG or Watches and Wonders? Is it going to pass muster?
Oh yeah.
Have we got any chance of guessing this brand? Would we have heard of it?
Are we talking about
brand?
Gaia?
It's a Gaia. We were supposed to find it on the Gaia website.
Right, I thought you were going to. I've gone and found something from some other website.
No, why would you do that? Gaia gives you all the lousy statements you need.
There's plenty.
It's a visual
of unhinged,
feast.
There's loads of unhinged stuff on the internet.
You think
David.
that in addition to looking at regular watch brand websites, David's looking at all the weird copycat brand websites? I mean, there is only so much attention a man can offer this hobby.
I think Ripley got the gist of this game and went somewhere else. Did you?
No, I went to the Gaia website too. Yeah, and mine was on a Roger Dubuis lookalike called the Big Bang Series Skeleton Mechanical Watch, and I quote, "The collision of speed and passion, burning between the wrist." It sounds uncomfortable. It sounds hot. It sounds itchy. It sounds like you might have contracted something.
Yeah. Okay, and only the Gaia can fish it. Well, I completely didn't understand this is the game, but maybe that was because as soon as anyone says to me, "What's the most outlandish marketing you've ever heard for a particular product?" I always go to one place. So let me read this and see if you can guess where this is from. I've edited it slightly to not give it away. They have also become a source of fascination amongst the team, which is why, after stumbling upon a veritable stockpile of untouched vintage movements during a trip abroad a few years ago, we knew we had to take the opportunity to share them with the world. After years of development, years and years, and a design process involving multiple iterations and prototypes, we are proud to introduce the... Complete that sentence.
I can't tell if this is a new movement or an old movement.
It's an old movement.
Being sold in a new watch.
Being sold in a new something.
It sounds very Omega-y.
Sounds Zenith-y? Could be an Omega-y. They talked a lot about how long it took them to recreate the 321.
Anyone in the chat?
But
I
that
think
wasn't
been using an old movement that's a major brand.
Nevada uses old stuff when they find it.
I said major brand.
Oh, all right.
No, it's a
burn.
Burn. I said major brand.
It's obviously the one, the only Hodinky travel clock. Come on.
Why would any of us know that?
I was thinking of. I was actually thinking of like, this sounds very Hodinky, but I was like, okay, I'm not.
I realize it might not be a website you regularly visit, Ariel, but come on, of all the marketing BS there ever was, this is the OG of it in terms of selling something for $6,000. Anyway, right, leave it at that. Right, other marketing fails this week. I don't know if you saw this. If this doesn't lose us some of the audience, nothing will. I'm tempted to play all 3 minutes of this video just because it's so funny. So let's do it, and we'll see if we can get. This is, let's see.
Trump time. A mistake on a Donald Trump keepsake might be funny to some.
But it wasn't a laughing matter for the couple who paid more than $600 for the Trump-branded watch. The I-Team's Brian Crandall looked into it and is here with what's happening now after we got involved. Brian?
Well, Patrice, Jean, one letter was left off that watch face, and it was pretty much the worst one possible to forget. And after being disappointed with the initial response from the website they ordered it from, the Middletown couple talked to us.
I liked it because it's similar to a Rolex band.
Showing support for the president and love.
Bit of an overstatement.
Just thought it was really nice.
He just thought it was nice. He just wanted a nice watch.
That she'd like.
A limited edition.
One of 250.
Note that.
So that attracted me.
And
Sold
Tim
out.
Pettit shelled out $640 for a watch that may now be even more of a one-of-a-kind than he bargained for.
So one of a kind.
Get your Trump watch right now. Go
Get
to
it.
gettrumpwatches.com. It's Trump time.
Pettit bought the watch after hearing an ad like that one on the radio.
With the president's voice,
hawking the watches.
Hawking.
And I was curious, so I went onto the website.
Sold out.
GetTrumpWatches.com. Pettit picked out the pink inauguration First Lady model.
It has the pink and it has little fireworks on it.
Melanie Pettit likes the style, but
So
it's what
Omega
this
missing
watch
firework.
does not have that makes it stand out.
I noticed it right away. The T is missing. It just says RUMP.
So it should say Trump.
Should say Trump.
Instead,
it said
Schultz.
Rump.
So she's about
she
to
has
cry.
a $640 Rump watch.
How could they process this and go through something without checking their work?
I'm very disappointed. I wanted it to be a special thing for her. And we had expected that it would have the integrity of the President of the United States.
TrumpWatches.com site calls its products the official watches of President Trump, but in the small print, it notes that it licenses the Trump name and likeness. The site also
Nothing to do with
states it
him.
has nothing to do with any political campaign, that the watches are not
No
designed,
politics here.
manufactured, distributed, or sold by
Not a
Donald J.
political
Trump,
show.
the Trump Organization, or any of their respective affiliates or principals.
I think that
Terrible.
someone needs to be aware of it in their licensing
Oh,
department.
they're aware of it now.
That someone's dropped the ball big time.
When the
Drop
Pettits
the
talked
T.
to us earlier today, they were not satisfied with what they thought was a lack of response to the messages from the company.
And an apology would be nice for making my wife cry.
He's learning to take watch selfies there.
All right, so we also reached out to the company's
He did,
email
he
and have
reached
not
out.
heard
Oh,
back.
gosh.
But
This is the
after we
best
sent
bit.
our messages, Tim Pettit called us back this afternoon to say the company did call him back, telling him they will immediately replace the watch, apologized, and offered an $800 coupon to buy something else, too.
So what else would you buy? I like the idea that it was a sold out
that just made the
250
news.
limited edition that they can immediately replace with a new one.
I think it's funny that they didn't like as non-watch people. Obviously, they didn't realize that these actually end up making them more valuable, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they
Don't
should have
send
been
it
like,
back,
"Oh
love you,
my
people.
God,
Send
we
it
got
back."
the Rump one. This is going to be a collector's item," and that there's a TV story on it now. Holy crap! Oh my
Some of
God,
these is already like
this
this.
is some
Mm.
insane person's Grail watch. Okay, someone is already just desiring this. I love
Yeah.
that watches are in the news. I guess. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Extremely
That was
fine and rare, potentially unique Rump watch under the hammer.
Yeah. Do you feel? I mean, you've got to think that there's a combo between Rump Watch and Gaia just waiting to be misspelled.
I mean, Gaia wishes
somewhere
they
in
had
the
this kind of
Watchverse.
exposure. Okay.
And
dear.
this good of copywriting. I mean, there's only one typo on the dial of the Trump watch and on the Gaia website. I mean, it is.
That we know
Doesn't
of.
it sort of like prove it's kind of handmade, right? Because you just make a bunch of dials. Like, how is one of the letters going to be missing,
It's
right?
been
Like,
glued-
this
it's
is
been glued on by hand. as
glued
opposed to
on by
stamp.
someone's fingers. That's artisanship right there.
I mean, Trump's got famously little fingers, so maybe they should have got him to.
No, it already
Yeah, it would've
explained he
been-
has nothing to do with it. Just
Nothing to
his
do with
voice
that,
was
right, okay, just-
was used by
just-
AI.
Just he takes the money, he does the video. It's his name.
He's a
Nothing-
hell of a
other than that,
fundraiser.
absolutely nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it.
I mean,
Good
I
stuff.
think here's the thing, and we don't even have to say this. Everyone knows he's not wearing these.
Of course.
Right? Like, we don't have to say that. So here's the thing. Would this make it funnier or less funny if he was actually aware?
Well, how I should really have generated some
And
AI.
would it be the tourbillon?
Some AI, yeah, some AI voiceover
Tourbillon.
of Trump responding. Yeah, I did wonder what other ways of misspelling Donald's name there was. There must be Donald J. Trump. There must be some appropriate letters to
All right,
remove
we've talked
from that.
about him enough.
Anyway, we have talked about enough. Let's talk about some watches. We got there in the end. Right, this one, the Tudor Black Bay 58 hands-on that Mr. Ripley Sellers had. Ripley, a highlight watch now that Watches and Wonders is long past. Has this one stayed with you? Did you particularly want to review this hands-on, or was it just what you were sent?
We did not get sent this. We could have requested one, but we saw it in Geneva. I
Right.
mean, it's an interesting watch. I quite like it. It's probably one of the few pieces we saw at Watches and Wonders, aside from like the Nomos, that I could actually think about buying for myself one day. But I like it. It's at a quick glance, it just looks like they did a red version of the Black Bay 58, but it kind of marks the new generation of Black Bay 58 watches. As you'll remember, when they rolled out the original Black Bay series, it made its debut appearance with a burgundy bezel rather, with a black dial. Then they had the black bezel, or the blue bezel with the black dial, and then they finally rolled out the all black one. They've sort of done it in reverse for the Black Bay 58. First we got the black one, then we got the all blue one, and now we have the red one. But as you'll notice with the Black Bay 58, the dial and bezel match in color. What's of note of this one, other than some slightly refined proportions and a smaller, more Rolex-looking crown, is that you get a Metis certified movement and the option of the Jubilee bracelet. So this is the first Black Bay 58 diver, not GMT, to have a Metis certified movement. And you can probably expect some of these changes to end up making their way to the other 58 models at some point in the future, like the Jubilee bracelet. But I quite like it. I think this is kind of a dressy looking piece. It's got like a red sunburst dial as a nod to a 90s prototype Tudor, but it's also quite a bit more dressy and pretty looking than the standard matte black diver that they make so many of. So I quite liked it. I thought it was a good looking watch.
Yeah, I really like it. Ariel, David, did you get much of a chance to try it on at Geneva?
I saw this model. I didn't try it on. I think the first thing I'll say is that the Black Bay 58 is much thinner than the other ones, and therefore it feels a lot more elegant because of that. So I think that, from a wearability standpoint, this is one of the top ones. Even if you don't like the case diameter, you think it should be wider, the thinness really sort of sells it. I feel somewhat, validated, because I was saying that burgundy and maroon red were going to be a big thing, and it seems to be that that's true. It's attractive, it's fun, it's if you have sort of more of a bright red, it's difficult, but once you get into sort of these darker reds, it really makes a case for itself. And yes, of course, there's always been the bezel versions. Now you have the dial and the bezel. I think what's good about it is, if you already have a black dial dive watch of this size, which many people probably do, it's really great that there's sort of a slightly different way of enjoying this. So the Metis certified movement, the master chronometer is great. Again, I don't know what the sort of general perception of Tudor is right now, but all in all, this is like a good looking, good size, decently priced, mechanically nice watch out there for people that, want that. Like, people should be praising this, not Christopher Ward.
David?
I mean, it's okay, I guess. I like the contrast in the dial. I like that it has colors on it. Good looking bracelet as well. Not crazy expensive. Pricey though. It's a decent watch.
I mean, are Tudor the brand at the moment that's not putting its prices up at every given opportunity in comparison to everybody else?
Could
be. $4.5 it feels like this is what you would have paid for this 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, it wasn't, but it feels like it was.
Well, they're very measured when they raise their prices. So obviously, this being Metis certified, it costs them more to produce it. But we're talking about a price premium of like a couple $100 or like $300 or something. This isn't when, the equivalent of like Oris dropping a caliber 400 in one of their watches, and all of a sudden it jumps from like $2,000 to $4,000. So they are getting more expensive. This is noticeably more expensive than what the Black Bay were running when they first released. But that was quite a while ago. And so things do get more expensive, but what you're getting still kind of feels like a comparable value proposition, all things considered. And under $5,000, Metis certified, this isn't a brand that's going anywhere. So when you need to get it serviced, it's not like you'll be, looking for ghosts or anything like that.
Okay, let's have a look at something else before we play a Hypnus maybe. And that is a new release from Vacheron Constantin, the Overseas Grand Complication open face watch. Should a minute repeater be on a sports watch? Yes or no? Or do we not really care? It is what it is. Ariel?
It's lovely and expensive. I mean, I didn't get to see this one personally. It's sort of, they released it, a little bit afterwards. Look, a watch like this comes in, it's a grand complication, it's got all this fancy stuff. It's like they barely need to show it to anyone. They feel that there's a few people out there just clamoring for stuff like this. It ends up they have to show it around a lot. I think the challenge for Vacheron is how to increasingly make these different looking. Like they're often using the same movements. They sort of swap some colors, open dial, closed dial. Let's try this case. Let's try that case. I think for me, the underwhelming part is even if Vacheron Constantin has not come out with something specifically like this before, it kind of looks like they have. So this feels, even though it's very, very impressive, kind of like a line extension. And it's kind of odd to me that we live in an era where a grand complication tourbillon minute repeater perpetual calendar is just sort of released like a line extension, like now in blue. I don't necessarily see any of the special iconography that they created for the 270th anniversary. Maybe on the movement there, I know that there's a special finishing that they created for it. So, okay, there's some of the stripes there. But again, if you didn't know that was like what they were doing for it, you couldn't really tell. So it's lovely, but I think David said this. I don't remember what the watch was, honestly. Oh, it was the Blanc Pan. Looks like it came out like 10 years ago. Like if this came out 10 years ago, I again, if you would have told me this was 10 years old, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so the idea of luminous hands and a minute repeater, are they not mutually exclusive, I guess is my question, David?
I mean, are you a strict traditionalist here? I mean, I don't know.
Do I feel like a strict traditionalist to you? What do you think?
No,
a little bit, yeah.
They work. They work collaboratively. So you're in the dart club and you sound off your minute repeater, and then the other guys look at you to see who launched off the Vacheron minute repeater, and then they're beckoned to your wrist with the glowing hands and markers. So yeah, it's for ultimate flex.
If you wake up in the middle of the night, your hands are not going to be charged
unless you wear a Panerai or a G-Shock.
Really?
No. If you're buying this watch, your manservant Chives just, keeps it charged for you.
Lying next to you.
I love that we now have an official name for the Blog to Watch manservant, which shall be ever known as Chives. We need to give Chives an identity.
Anyway, you know what I want? I want a gag where someone says, "Hey Siri, what time is it?" and then Siri tells you in little musical chimes.
Hey Siri.
I think that'd be hilarious. And someone's like, "What the hell does that mean?
Sorry,
I don't understand."
He said he's now sitting next to me.
That is my favorite thing about the Hublot smartwatches. One of the faces is a minute repeater, and when you lift your arm up, it taps into the accelerometer, and the gears fly into the screen, and it chimes out the time. It almost makes it worth a $5,000 Big Bang smartwatch.
There we go.
That does sound amusing, yeah.
Anyone got some? Oh, I don't know. Let's check how much it is.
No, you can't check how much it is. I inquired.
One of those,
I was politely told this isn't price upon request. It is price upon the request of clients. So they clearly do not see me as a viable client.
At least they're not lying anymore, because usually we would request the price and they'd say price upon request. And like, isn't that what I just did? Are you not just lying?
This is a request. Is it not?
That's why we say they decline to give the price. We won't say price upon request because that's a lie.
Yeah. Is it not reasonable that we should get to play guess the price of the watch at the bottom? Whoever's writing it should just be permitted to guess the price.
Yes.
Say that it's a guess at the bottom of the article. Say they refuse to tell us, so we're guessing it costs this much. I think that's a perfectly reasonable strategy.
And the excuses that the brands have is so lame. They're like, we don't want our clients to have people know how much their watches cost. I'm like, I'm sorry. People know it's expensive. If it's not to the dollar, you think it's going to prevent a theft?
And I've never met a super rich individual yet who's not prepared to tell you how much they paid for something.
Well, there's that.
I mean, if they're going to rob you for $700,000, they'll probably rob you for $9 or $6. I don't think it really matters at a point like this.
Maybe the minute repeater should chime out with the retail prices.
Well, that'd be a really long chime. You might
700,000 chimes.
7 minutes later, ding, ding, ding.
First, it would chime the hundreds of thousands and then tens of thousands.
And then go on.
At least they only have to program in one number there. Or change it. It depreciates over time.
Complication.
Yes. And there's a calendar, and over time it goes down with depreciation.
Can I have
keep the watch running?
And a blog to watch manservant in this watch, please? In view images on the chat is asking.
Look, we have the article. It's the Watch Butler. Yes, it was April Fool's. Yes, someone can copy it. I have the rubric down. We have the whole business model and everything. Why am I saying it? Someone in the chat were mentioned, they said that they wanted
in the
this.
same way that you had
Someone
Ask
in the chat
Jeeves.
make a Kickstarter at this point. It sounds like Ariel has the whole business plan.
No,
you know,
it's a
just
I mean, there should be an additional service on Uber, maybe.
It's
know?
a subscription now, not
Or what are the various
Kickstarter.
types of
Uber
what
Vines.
was it? TaskRabbit. There you go. It should be TaskRabbit.
Right, I think you should change the search box in a blog to watch though when it opens, a bit like the old Ask Jeeves. It's Ask Chives.
If somebody
Should be
wants
official-
to create
official search engine.
a animated Watch Butler, I am so for it. The Watch Butler could have an excited look. He could have a depressed look. There's so many things you could do with an animated Watch Butler.
I think I know how we're going to change this week's thumbnails for YouTube and Spotify.
Okay,
this
so it's
episode.
like this is what I
Watch
would do. I
Butler.
would take something between the Monopoly guy and the character from Fallout, have him like watches.
Uh-huh.
He'd have to find he needs to look definitely middle-aged, you
Mhm.
know, someone comfortable yet eager to serve. You know, can't be too skinny.
Will be eager to serve. Just
Black
below
and
the
white
bread line
attire,
enough.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, we'll look at designing that.
Does
Okay.
AI design these things? I don't know.
I'm sure shortly after the show I will have AI
I'm
design.
not good at the
precisely
prompts.
that.
That's what prevents me from using AI more. I have like prompt paranoia.
blindness.
Like I don't know what to write. Like do I put extra periods or something to do it different? Like you change one letter and the whole thing changes.
Right, let's play Hit Miss Maybe. So before we begin, let's find out what everyone is wearing. Ariel, you're in your usual haunt, but what are you wearing?
I'm wearing an Edox. This is the Grand Ocean Power Reserve Automatic. It's their smaller 40mm model. So if you want a 300-meter dive watch that looks like a dress watch with a power reserve indicator, hey,
That's your
this
baby.
is that. It's
Cool.
also grand.
Cool. David, what are you wearing? You're doing it muted.
He cannot
You're
disclose.
doing it muted. You're shouting at the screen muted.
It's sort of like the government is censoring it. We can't let him talk
That's
about that.
What
It's
brand
made,
just
so
automatically censored you?
It's from the Failing West. It's it's a Luminox Arctic Edition tactical timepiece of all things.
From the Failing West.
$5.95 US dollars, hard currency for you. So that's
Hard
pretty
currency.
expensive.
Oh.
You can buy a house
He was
here
having
for
it.
that.
He
Soon.
was having his own midlife revolution all by himself. Ripley,
Yeah.
where are you? What are you wearing? And what are you adorned with?
I'm in Los Angeles. I'm wearing the Notice Sector Field 2 Titanium, their first titanium watch on a strap from Boundary Layer Studio. Norcane is on my head. And we have the octagonal bezel integrated bracelet watch t-shirt from
Very
a Blog
good.
to Watch store on my shirt.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah,
We'll
the
just call it the
chat
Genta
is-
bezel.
The Genta bezel, I like
bezel.
that.
Yeah, the Chives is taking off, getting a life of his own in the chat. Right, first, I'm in Scotland wearing a panerai, but you knew that already.
Chives
Right,
the watch
first-
butler.
First watch up is this. I don't know what to make of this, but it's the Casio G-Shock GAV 01A/8A watch. Ariel, you're a G-Shock expert. What's does this watch have a basis of
Yes.
existence, or
Yes,
did
it does.
just drop fully formed? Go for it, Ripley.
So, back when Casio was developing the very first G-Shock in the early 80s, they had a digital module in a ball device that they were throwing out of the window famously.
Oh, I remember that,
Now,
yes.
In some fever dream of the design department, they imagined the ball becoming a creature. And so that's what these subdials are, the eyes, and transcending its rubber ball form and becoming a creature that became this watch. So that's why you see the face, for lack of a better word, with the little screens. And that's why it looks kind of like this whole bizarre inverted thing where the hour markers are technically above the bezel and above the crystal. And it's all kind of biomorphic. Interesting thing about it, though, is the hands use a magnetic connection. If you notice, the minute hand's quite large and big, and that would create problems with just wake and torque on the pivot point. And so they actually use a magnetic connection point that aligns so shocks and whatnot don't disrupt the hand alignment.
Okay. Was there any need for this watch?
I mean, well, G-Shock has to release like 50 new G-Shocks each quarter, so yeah, of course there is a need for it.
Part of the requirement. I don't know where Ariel has gone, but Ariel has left the building. Maybe he was that upset about this G-Shock, or he didn't include it in his book.
He went to go find the ball creature. It's
he's probably he's probably got it in his collection somewhere. Right. Well, before he comes back, which hopefully he does, we just check and see he's not trying to get back in the room. Then let us give it our hit, miss, maybe vote. 1, 2, 3. Oh, go on then. Hit. Yeah, hit maybe. Yeah, I look at it and I go, don't be so ridiculous. This is horrible. Then I go, well, you know what? It's $100. Is it $100? It's
$140.
It's grotesque. It's grotesque. It looks like, a prolapsed Oakley nightmare, but like
it looks like a very famous old meme. But enough said about that. It's
but
very
you can't
odd.
get a bigger statement piece for less money. That thing is absolutely ridiculous.
It reminds me, what was the swatch that came out with the first Nivachrome on it? That was a limited edition. It was humongous.
Fly Magic.
Was it Nivrox? The Fly Magic, the swatch Fly Magic. Yes. Feels a bit like this is G-Shock's version.
It does have a Fly Magic quality to it, you're right.
Just the most amount of stuff on your wrist as it's possible to make. It's a bit weird. David, your collection?
Yeah, I gave it a maybe per hit, basically. I like that it exists. I really like that. If this was Nike or some other brand that prostitutes themselves every time that they find something cool in their basement or in their archive, this would be like 1,400 or 5,000 or something like that. This could have been a Back to the Future kind of shoe that sells for $30K and you can have it for $140. I really genuinely appreciate G-Shock launching something as cool and as unique as this at such a relatively affordable price point. And clearly some work has gone into this. It's not very well made. I mean, you can see all the rough edges and stuff, but it's still unique. It still took a bunch of work, a lot of work to get it to this point. So I kind of like it.
I think it's literally the only watch I've ever seen that the screws that go in the side could be bought in your local DIY store, which is great. If you lose the screws, you can just go. You'll have some in that wee drawer in your kitchen that's got all the random gear in it. There'll be some screws that fit this. Ripley, you give it a hit.
Yeah, I said it's a hit, in a world where G-Shock is making these more elevated models like the MRGs, which, we're talking like entry-level Rolex pricing almost. I love that they still give attention to the lower end of the market and not just regurgitating the same, legacy silhouettes like the 5600 or iterations of the Casio. I love that they press the envelope and create just new, fun stuff that, is firmly on the entry level segment. So, they still very much cater to the average person who just wants to indulge and wear something fun. So, I mean, clearly this isn't going to be your one watch. And if you are, please contact me. I'd like to speak with you, but this is a super fun piece. So I don't, you can't be mad at it for the price.
Yeah, that's good. What does everybody in the chat think? Let me see the most recent.
It does have an Oakley quality to it. I'm looking at Oakley watches on Chrono24. I searched for Oakley and there are 6 finds and all 6 of them are amazing.
Yeah, well, actually, as in the chat. This feels like a watch that would actually work really, really well as a collab watch. That you could brand it with Nike or Iron Man or frankly whatever you wanted and actually take it. Okay, it can also be branded with your local curry house that just decided it needed to give away some Christmas gifts. But it's a bit of an all-rounder. It'd be interesting to see. I suspect it's really comfy as well. I suspect it is a really comfy watch to wear. Okay, well, we've had that from G-Shock, so let's try this from G-Shock. This is the GMC B21 00ZE/1A 50th anniversary. I can just call it the GMC 50th anniversary. Nobody knows. This is a bit more sizable, or it's on a bit of a smaller Ripley size wrist. I'm not sure which.
It's the latter. It's the latter.
It's the latter. You got hands on with this Ripley. Should we be impressed?
Yeah. So this is cool. They rolled these out, I believe, last year. As far as this model, it's basically it's the full metal version of the Casio with a fully analog display. So they did the full metal ones before. Those run about like $500-600. This is closer to $1,000, and then this is like an all blacked out one with gold accents, which Casio says is supposed to is inspired by the genesis of innovation, the moment of moving from 0 to 1, and it has this little 0-1 motif engraved along the rehaut. It's a limited edition, or I mean limited production rather than like limited quantity. It's to celebrate the 50th anniversary, even though that was technically last year. But this is $1,000 G-Shock, so it is solid bracelet links, full steel, full metal case, little rubber shock absorbers between the metal bezel and the metal inner case. But this is not by any means the most expensive Casio, for lack of a better term. They've got some that are like $4,000 and change. This is I think around like $900 or so. So it's getting up there, but it's a G-Shock, but it feels more like a real substantial watch. There's no digital things on it, although obviously it's all Bluetooth and solar and all of that, so you change it through your smartphone. And of course, there is that little 50th anniversary gold link, which is cool.
Cool. Right. Is it to hit? Is it to miss? Or is it to maybe? 1, 2, 3, go. Hit, miss, and an upside down hit, which makes it no, it's an up. Right. Okay, it's a right way up hit. So, David, why is it a miss?
I just never bonded with the Casio design. It just doesn't look right at all from any angle, to my eyes at least. So I don't like it at all. I can see why, frankly, I don't even see why people like it. There's so many great looking. All you need is a 5600 or 5000. All you need is like an octagonal G-Shock, and then that's it. And those are so much better looking and so much more G-Shock than this that already has the nickname Casio Oak, because it looks like a royal oak if you squint really hard and it's really dark and you're not paying attention. I don't understand any. I genuinely don't get the appeal of this watch at all, and I see it everywhere around me, which is twice as annoying, basically.
Yeah.
I think it's because of the thinness and size. I mean, the 5600 would be the logical solution, but not everyone wants a fully digital screen. But these are, despite having tiny wrists, and you see this watch on me, it's really about the same profile, give or take some fractions of a millimeter, compared to the standard entry level 2100 series Casio G-Shocks. And I think a lot of people like them because relative to some of the bigger ones, before you get even into like the Rangemans, they're quite a bit smaller and more manageable. This is when they started rolling out the like carbon core guard structure so they could thin out the profile a bit. Obviously, none of that applies here because it's made out of metal. You get the rigidity there. But I honestly think people either like it because it reminds them of an AP, or they like it just because it is one of the more wearable G-Shocks for someone with smaller wrists like myself.
Bracelets and these are really nice.
Oh, yes,
really
and
the
way you size them is really nice. So it's like a tiny shoulderless spring bar that sits within the center portion of the link. So all you do is you like take a paper clip or something and just pop it out like you would a strap, and you change the links that way rather than dealing with pins and collars, friction pins, little hammers, screws, or anything like that. So it's super, super easy to do and takes about 5 seconds.
$930 is a lot, though. I mean, it's like,
yes,
I got an MTG 3000 or something like that for, those retailed for roughly the same, and they are just as thin as this. Just better looking all around.
And at $1,000, you start to want a couple of other things on this one, like a sapphire crystal, which it doesn't have. That they start rolling out on like the MTGs and the MRGs. This is really about as much as like mainline G-Shock gets, about as premium as you get. But at near $1,000, this is a far cry from like the guy who just goes on and gets one for $100 or $200.
Although I gave it a hit, I'm now wondering, is a G-Shock with no digital display really a G-Shock? The G-Shocks should have some digital displays on them, should they not?
If this didn't have
definition of it.
Bluetooth, it would be kind of a nightmare to use. I mean, it sets itself because of its various tech, but
Things.
trying to memorize all the button pushes and the screw down digital crown thing would be a nightmare. But ultimately, you open up the app, you pair it with the watch, and you can set the world time, the alarm, everything directly from your phone. And it's a really, really simple watch to use. But if you just gave me the watch without a smartphone and no manual and told me to set everything and set my alarm for the next morning, oh my God, I would not want to do that.
Yeah, they are horrifically complicated. And for some reason, unlike Citizen watches, their complicated ones seem to be more intuitive in, if you didn't know how to set them, you seem to be able to figure it out quicker. Hold both buttons down. That's bound to do something. Hold the top left and the top right button at the same time. And then it seems intuitive, whereas I've never had a G-Shock that I couldn't remember how to use, and I've kind of been able to figure it out quickly as to how to do it. It always just seems completely baffling.
The ones with the screens are easy because when they change to display the mode of information, but what screws me over with the fully analog ones, whether it's from Casio or Citizen or other, is you have to memorize these like hand motions and where they're jumping to, like on or off for what? I mean, I guess that depends on the mode, but like the hands move around to different things and you have to memorize that. But again, all of it's remedied through a smartphone app where it's, just as simple as setting your alarm for the morning like you would on your smartphone.
People are bringing their G-Shocks to the show next week for David. Right, so next week is G-Shock week on a Blog to Watch Weekly, just for David's sake. Great. Well, Ariel is having connection problems, so I don't think he will be back on. So we'll get on to our last watch. And this is something I think both of you managed to look at, Watches and Wonders. This is the Ulysse Nardin. See, I pronounced it correctly there. Diver Hammerhead Shark watch. I'm a big fan of these. David, you wrote the article from the point of being a fan also?
Yeah, I quite like Ulysse Nardin. I like these watches. I like watches with hammerhead sharks on them. I like the story about this friend of the brand. Very inspiring. So you guys should read the article to learn more about him and his story. And basically, spoiler alert, he lost one of his legs to a shark attack when he was 18. And he was back in the water like a month later. And ever since then, he's dedicated his life and efforts to conservation of sharks and all the rest of it. So it's a cool story, very on brand for Ulysse Nardin. I like these watches; they're well made. I wouldn't call them beautiful, but they are cool looking. So yeah, I was just like, okay, this is a cool release. I should write this up.
Okay, so having just announced Ariel's departure, Ariel has in fact reappeared for this final hit miss maybe. So let me get this straight. The guy lost his leg to a hammerhead shark. So he
not a hammerhead shark, another kind of shark.
A shark, right? It wasn't the same.
Yeah.
I was thinking that was just crazy man speak. So it was a shark in general. Okie dokie. Right. Let's give this watch a vote. Is it hit? Is it a miss? Or is it maybe 1, 2, 3, go? Hit, maybe hit. Ariel, why is it a hit for you?
Red, white, and blue. How could you go wrong? I don't care about any of the shark stuff. I like dive watches.
It says Rump on it.
Red,
Ulysse Nardin.
Yeah. Dive America or France or some other country. Sharks, okay, they bite people. I get it.
Yeah. They need rescuing. Clearly they're struggling. David, it was not a hit for you.
No, it's a gentle maybe. I mean, it's $12,000. I'm not really a fan of 5-figure price watches without a bracelet, but that's about it.
Yeah, Ripley.
Is there no shark skin strap? I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean,
conservation
got you,
watch.
shark.
Wait, it's a conservation watch? I missed all of that.
This is what we did to your brother.
I thought this is for when you love wearing sharks or eating.
The most misunderstood marketing campaign. Wait a minute.
This isn't the Shark Hunter? Oh, that's a doxa. Those
That's
guys
right.
love eating sharks, right?
Yeah.
At
That's
least
an
they like
interesting
hunting
point.
sharks.
If you, next year, some
Is this the
exhibition
shark
put
hugger?
Ulysse Nardin and Doxa in the stands next to each other. The shark sitting outside. It's Ulysse Nardin that used to have the shark that would sit outside at Watches and Wonders, isn't it? Or Basel. Was it Ulysse Nardin? Somebody used to put a shark outside their stand. Did they not? Am I imagining this? Am I having a fever dream?
That
I'm
was
sure.
the backlot
What are we
short
talking
Universals when you're at the Jaws thing. I just want to
it
let
was-
you know that.
At Basel World or Watches and Wonders.
Two
did Ulysse
completely different shows that
Nardin-
never
I know, but
intersected.
I think it must have been Basel.
Tell us about your shark
Ulysse
dream.
Did
What
Ulysse
kind of
Nardin
shark
not
was
have
it?
Was it? I can't remember. Hammerhead, possibly. Was it not
Possibly.
a big model shark that they had
Was it in a
outside their?
tank? I mean,
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Did it have a
what's that
prosthetic
artist?
fin?
was it a man in a suit? Like, where are we going
Sorry,
with this?
it was a guy. It was a guy in a Disney costume.
Did you put your
No, I'm
head in its
sure.
mouth for fun?
I'm sure there was somebody in the chat. Please back up. I'm sure one
Someone
of
in
the brands
the chat,
used to
do
have
you know about Rick's
a
shark?
model shark that sat outside the stand. I'm surely not making this up. Maybe I am. Right? Okay. I'm gonna retire.
You
now.
were having much more fun at Vazever than we were, Rick. If you had all these viewers.
That's right. I wasn't working.
This is great. Look at all this cool stuff.
Look at
I
the
want
sharks.
Ulysse Nardin to create a bespoke version of the Baby Shark song
Baby
by
shark.
Pink Fong. You know, I don't
It'd
know
be
how
a
it would
set.
go.
It'd be a set like Hublot. You'd have the baby shark and the grandpa shark and the mama shark. It'd be a whole shark
It
set.
would be like Grand Shark, Shark Tourbillon, Sharkograph. You know, stuff like that.
Sharkograph.
I still want to know, what does it mean to be Ulysse Nardin certified by Ulysse Nardin? Patek does this as well. What does it mean to certify yourself?
Rolex also does it.
Okay, that's true, but they have some fancy
Yes.
name. They call this the superlative chronometer. Like they pretend like it's some other agency. Rolex
There's
doesn't
some
say
external
Rolex
thing.
certified.
Uh-huh.
They actually say Ulysse Nardin certified by Ulysse Nardin. Like, do people not realize there's a missing third agency there?
I actually highlight this in the article and say they should be a little bit more open about what this entails and what this means, because there's no
At least
information on the
Patek
website
said, "Well,
whatsoever.
no one but us could satisfy our standards."
Standards.
Oh, jeez.
Rip, where did we get? Comment on your vote?
I said it's a hit. I mean, it's a fun watch. You got red, white, and blue. It's as David said, it's expensive for a dive watch on a rubber strap, but this is a fun thing. I like that Ulysse Nardin makes these colorful things, these limited editions, these shark themed watches. It's a good way to kind of infuse a more whimsy and lighthearted element into this collection, which could so easily otherwise just be a smattering of blacks and grays and blues.
It does feel like a collaboration with Lego, though.
Captain America.
Well, it's got all these square elements to it. I mean, I can see a Lego pieces making this watch. Let's just be honest.
Right, okay. This is it. I love it just because any brand, being a Panerai fan, that manages to get their brand name on the straps, always a winner for me. I think that's...
These
I
are
think when I
actually
finally buy
comfortable.
Yeah, the link is functional. That wee little metal link on the 6 o'clock side, it actually has a purpose.
I think when I finally buy my second watch after the Panerai, I might do it based on collecting watches where the brand names are on the straps. I think that'd be a suitably niche.
Make sure you also get
area
some
of collecting.
vestigial links in there too. You got some Bulgaris that have it. Definitely a bunch of Ulysse Nardins.
Yeah, Bulgaris, Breitling. I think Oris. I think I'd be able to be quite eclectic. I'm not sure Rolex have ever put their brand name on a strap or a bracelet, have they?
Sorry,
That's
this
supposed to
collection
keep it
will
on
be
the
sans
clasp.
Rolex.
Sans
Oh yeah,
Rolex
you need a
collection.
Breitling, Rick. They just write it like it's so big it takes both sides of the strap.
Yeah, well, so does Panerai. So
I
there
think
we
you
go.
need more Breitlings. I think Breitling did it
More-
first. Let's be honest.
Did Breitling do it first?
It does
Who
seem like
who were
something
first to write
Breitling
their
would have
name?
done first, before
Would have
Panerai
done.
at least.
Breitling. Yes. Okay.
Oh yeah, Breitling was making very garish watches long before Panerai was revived.
I never thought
Great
so
stuff.
garish to have the brand on the side of the strap, because at the time, what else were they going to put there? There was nothing. It was just blank color.
I mean, it's in like size 400 font. It's absolutely massive. There's
Any smaller, it's hard to see from far away. I mean, come on.
Got to be able to tell what that watch is from across the.
You got to advertise that you want to be a pilot.
As if the 48mm Super Avenger didn't beckon enough people to the back.
No, but it's not
why are you wearing a
facing them.
saucer
The
on your
side of
wrist?
your watch has to say the same thing.
So that's why they made them so thick.
Yes.
They could just dominate from a side view.
It says, "I'm a man who appreciates large artillery."
Okay, and on the note of Ariel's large artillery, we will leave the show. So thank you all very much for listening. Join us again in a week or so's time. Do check out the Blog to Watch shop. Do check out the questionnaire. It's not so much more a questionnaire as a telephone manual that you fill in yourself. Is it still on the go? Have we still given away more watches as yet, Ariel?
Yes, we just gave away another one, and we need. Yeah, we have a little bit more to go. I mean, this is the type of survey that I knew was going to take a little while. Again, I appreciate people that are putting the time into it. I just had a fascinating discussion with someone today who was telling me how great it was we're doing something like that, because you can't capture this data through collecting data points on the internet and trying to figure stuff out. Like, it's very, very difficult to get stuff like this. So I couldn't be more excited to start, manipulating the data and see what findings we can come up with.
Cool. And bear in mind, it is going to take you about 45 minutes to complete, and there's a chance of winning a watch. Not a lot of people are doing it. Like, it's a few hundred, so you've got a really decent chance of winning a watch if you spend the time getting stuck in to complete.
I wrote it to be
survey.
Interesting to do, and people tell me that they like being asked about some of their deeper feelings about things because they wouldn't have thought about it otherwise.
Tell us about all your deep feelings about
deep
watches.
Feelings. I want to know.
There we go. Grand. Right. Well, that's it from us for this week. So thank you very much. Speak to you again soon. Bye.
Catch you guys
Bye,
next
everyone.
week.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Grand Ocean.
And then just a wee minute longer on the live chat. So where did you disappear to, Ariel? You vanished. We thought you were away to get the original bouncing ball from the G-Shock that matched that G-Shock that we looked at.
Well, while I had internet, it said that my internet had cut out, which was confusing to say the least. And then the file's uploading, and I didn't want to ruin it by reloading or something like that, and then you wouldn't have the first part of the conversation. So if you must know, that's why it took so long.
It was California internet. Good stuff. Right. Well, thank you guys. Anything exciting happening this week? Anything to particularly look forward to in the watch world? Do we should tell the audience to look out for on the website or anywhere else?
Yes.
Look up. Yeah. Go ahead.
Stuff coming soon. Look, there's the thing. There's no summer anymore in the traditional sense where the watch industry takes time off. I'm actually curious to see if they'll actually do it in August. But the new releases are coming all the time. We're being sent stuff. There's really no lull. As we talked about with that Vacheron and some other pieces, it's just a few weeks ago that they were debuting stuff, and they're already on to showing stuff that they hadn't shown there. I think that demonstrates that there's not going to be a lull. There's some events that we're going to be going to. David and I have some factory visits to look forward to. Boy, it's not a summer unless you've gone inside and smelled the fresh smell of machine oil bright and early in the morning.
Exactly.
So we got some
Good
of that
stuff.
to look forward to. I wish you could all be there.
Excellent. Well, maybe one day they will. We're going to have a Blog to Watch tour. Good stuff. Right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Thank you, guys, for coming on the show. We'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.